Observation. The organic has been monitoring Starfleet transmissions obsessively. This is not a productive use of time.
Hello everyone, and this might be a little bit weird thing to talk about. This video is not an episode about hating Star Trek. It's an episode about worrying about it. Look, I love Star Trek. I grew up with it. It shaped how I think, how I imagine the future, how I understand people who are different from me. And because of all of that, I really do want what's best for this franchise. I want it to be strong. I want it to be reliable. And I really do want new generations to discover it with the same excitement and curiosity I did. But right now, streaming is making it harder, not easier.
Emotional attachment detected. Analysis indicates this concern is rational.
Look, for, last 5 to 10 years, we were basically told streaming would fix everything. No more waiting, no more regional gaps, no more missing episodes or scrambled schedules. In theory, streaming was supposed to make Star Trek more accessible than ever. In practice, for a lot of the world, it has actually done the opposite.
Observation. The promise of universal access has not been fulfilled.
Now, in this video, I'm going to focus on the Eastern Europe because that's where I live, and that's where the cracks are easiest to see. So, until recently, Star Trek mostly lived here on Netflix. It wasn't perfect, but it was consistent. You definitely knew where to find it. You knew what was available. You could literally start a show and reasonably expect to finish it. Now, well, it's kind of scattered. Some shows are on one platform, some seasons on another, some disappear without warning. Some come back months later like nothing happened. And here's the key point. None of this is obvious unless you're actively tracking licensing news.
Assessment. Viewers are expected to perform distribution research. This is inefficient.
Now, let me give you a real simple example. Say you're late to Lower Decks. You start watching it on Prime Video. You're loving it. You get to season 3, maybe, let's say episode 5. And then it's gone. Not delayed, not marked coming soon, it's just gone. You check other platforms, still gone. So, you didn't pirate, you didn't refuse to pay, you followed every rule, and what's your reward? A dead end. Literally. I don't know about you, but there is nothing more infuriating than starting a show and suddenly it disappears.
Correction. Compliance has not resulted in continuity. This indicates system failure.
This is what I mean when I say the approach feels kinda, haphazard. You got 2 seasons here, 3 over there. You got old Trek in one place, new Trek somewhere else. Movies are in different spots. Specials are, hiding somewhere. And here's the problem with Star Trek especially. It isn't built to be consumed like this. It is a connected franchise. It really invites long-term investment. It really encourages people to explore, both backwards and forward. When you fragment a show and the franchise mid-watch, it does not just frustrate fans, it literally trains them not to start at all.
Conclusion. Fragmentation discourages initial engagement.
And then there's spoiler problem. Let me give you an example. So, Strange New Worlds Season 3 premiered in the US in my region, it literally arrived 2 weeks later. 2 weeks? Well, look, it doesn't sound like much until you remember how the internet works. This is 2026. Well, at that time it was 2025. So every episode was discussed, every major moment was clipped, every surprise was turned into a thumbnail. By the time show officially arrived here, avoiding spoilers literally meant avoiding the internet. And I had literally people tell me, "Oh, just stay off social media." That's not a serious solution.
Recommendation to disconnect from global communication networks for 10 weeks is statistically unrealistic.
Look, some of us actually work online, some of us run businesses, some of us create content. Some of us just want to enjoy fandom without being punished for our time zone. Star Trek is supposed to be a shared experience. Delayed releases make it a staggered one, where some fans are always behind. We're always excluded from conversation, and that doesn't build excitement, it really builds resentment.
Observation: exclusion reduces long-term loyalty.
Here's the big thing. Let me be clear. I understand licensing is complicated. I understand regional agreements exist. I understand not every service operates everywhere. So this isn't about blaming people. It's not about pretending this is easy. But understanding why something is broken doesn't make it less broken.
Affirmation: explanation does not equal resolution.
And look, the bigger issue is these companies are still acting like it's 1995. Look, back then, and yes, I am that old, but back then, a delayed release meant you probably wouldn't know what you were missing. Now, you know everything before you were even allowed to see it. Look, guys, we live in a global market. It's a real-time market. It's a social media driven market. So planning for just one region is really no longer viable.
Assessment: current strategy is temporarily outdated.
And like I said, look, this hurts Star Trek more than it hurts other franchises. Because Star Trek thrives on discussion. It does thrive on reflection, theories, shared emotional beats. But when you have this type of uneven access, this entire ecosystem collapses. And really, don't be surprised when new viewers are the first to walk away. Casual fans stop keeping up, and the franchise quietly shrinks. Look, we also have a problem of 10 episode schedules, and we didn't actually have a really good Star Trek in the last 10 years. But even if the shows were not bad, the experience of getting those shows and viewing them and having fun with them is literally unreliable.
Finding: reliability correlates with cultural longevity.
So, what can be done better? And I just want to be clear. I'm saying this as a fan and not someone who's like in the industry. These aren't corporate strategies. These are literally viewer experience corrections. First, one streaming home per region. If Paramount Plus isn't available, pick one partner and commit. Stop rotating, stop fragmenting. And I get it. Maybe this partner doesn't want that show or this show, and I understand all that. But this is why planning is so important. Second, no partial seasons. Ever. If you can't license the full show, wait. Please stop stranding viewers mid-story. And I am focusing on that because I had someone who has never watched Star Trek, was really not interested in Star Trek, and I kinda, let's say, nudged them to watch Lower Decks and Prodigy. And he first watched Prodigy, he actually liked it because he likes animation. And he got interested. And I'm like, okay, Lower Decks, it's kind of an insane show, but why don't you try it? He did. And he was the one who got to season 3 and suddenly disappeared. And I will never stop hearing about it. Third, please, for the love of God, minimize global release gaps. Look, I understand that same day, even though it will be ideal, is probably not possible. 48 hours, survivable. 2 weeks is literally destructive. Fourth, communicate clearly. A single page, a roadmap, something that says, this is where Star Trek lives in your region. None of this needs new technology. It just needs planning.
Conclusion: these solutions demand foresight, not innovation.
Look, I'm saying all of this because I genuinely do care. I want Star Trek to be something people can rely on again. Something, I don't know, parents can show their kids without a disclaimer. Something new fans can discover, not get lost in. And I care because Star Trek taught me optimism. It taught me curiosity. It taught me how the future could be better. Right now, unfortunately, their distribution strategy does not reflect those values. And I really hope somewhere on the business side, someone might hear this, not as an attack, but really as a concern from someone who wants this franchise to last.
Final assessment: viewer concern is justified, corrective action is advised.
And that's it for me. Let me know, if you're outside the US, I'd really like to hear your experience. Have you had shows like disappear mid-watch? Have you had shows being spoiled for you because of the staggered release dates? And even unrelated to Star Trek, has this type of confusion and mess when it comes to the streaming services ever made you stop watching altogether? So, have a good one, and I'll see you very soon.
Support the organic creator, like, share and subscribe.